Everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 12th, 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have reached an agreement with UE Olot. And I'm going to tell you what that agreement is all about. Also, Bernardo Silva set to sign with Real Madrid. And finally, Harry Kane's renewal is stalling. And I'm going to tell you how that could affect Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Bo, and today is official, ladies and gentlemen. The 2026 World Cup is underway. Today was the first day of this long anticipated event that we have all waited for approximately 3.5 years, usually four. But of course, the 2022 World Cup was in December instead of summer. So 3.5 years, three very long and a half years. But finally, the World Cup is here. We had two matches today. We have the inaugural match between Mexico and South Africa, where Mexico won 2-0, a very dominant match by the host country, or one of the three host countries, I should say. And I think a disappointing response by South Africa. I didn't see South Africa offer too much in response to the total dominance of Mexico. Of course, South Africa ended up with two red cards, two players being expelled due to some serious fouls there. Mexico ended up getting a red card, which I thought it was a little silly. I mean, you're up 2 men, you're up 2-0. Why did that defender had to do that? But it is what it is. Mexico won their inaugural match, so very, very important, of course, for them and their hopes to go far in this World Cup. And then the second match, which just ended a few moments ago, South Korea defeating Czech Republic 2-1, an incredibly entertaining match. I watched it, I enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about South Korea, by the way. But watching them today, they're so entertaining to watch. Very offensive football, very courageous, just with the advanced lines, moving the ball quickly. I mean, a little bit kind of like Barcelona style. Very, very enjoyable match. I mean, South Korea was just dominating, creating chance after chance. In fact, they missed two clear chances. And then when it seemed like they were dominating and they were about to score a goal, boom, Czech Republic scores a goal against them with a throw-in that gets headed in. And then South Korea responds with the most beautiful goal. It's tied 1-1. Czech Republic from the free kick, boom, they scored the 1-2, but nope, goal disallowed due to offside, and then South Korea scored their goal, and it's 2-1 in favor of South Korea. We had 5 goals today. Again, incredibly entertaining match between South Korea and Czech Republic. So now we have the two leaders of Group A, which is Mexico and South Korea, with 3 points each, and then Czech Republic and South Africa with 0 points. But of course, my question to you is, who are you supporting this World Cup? Let me know in the comment section. And of course, who do you think is going to win? Because that answer could be different, right? You could be supporting your home country, but maybe you don't think your home country is going to go that far. So instead, you think a different country is going to win. Let me know down below in the comment section. And with that, let's pivot back to Barcelona news, because after all, this is a Barca news channel. But let's talk about the agreement that Barcelona reached today with UE Olot, which is, of course, a football club in Catalonia, a football club that's very known for developing young talent, a football club that Barcelona consistently signs from and signs players from, of course. And now Barcelona and UE Olot have signed an agreement so both clubs can work more closely on identifying and promoting young talent. And this is incredibly, incredibly important, because this will be a great opportunity for Barcelona to continue scouting young talent and then bring them to La Masia. Of course, I imagine it would first, they will go through the UE Olot Academy, then move over to Barcelona, continue growing development. And this is how our academy, La Masia, will continue to be the best academy in the world, will continue to produce in top talent in the world. Because even though signing big names is fun and all, but I think it's a lot more fun when you produce your own talent. And while we're one of the few big clubs that gets to do that, right? Most clubs that produce talent, they end up selling that talent. when it comes to big clubs, most of them end up buying their talent. Not FC Barcelona, ladies and gentlemen. We have produced the likes of Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, Lamine. I mean, some of the greatest footballers in history we have produced here at home. And well, this agreement with UE Olot will allow us to continue doing that. Now, these are the statements of the interim Barcelona president, Rafa Yuste, in regards to the agreement, saying this agreement reflects Barca's desire to continue working alongside clubs that perform an essential role in developing young footballers and transmitting the values of sport. And then the president of UE Olot, Juan B. Agusti, said, "We hope this agreement will strengthen our relationship, promote a football model based on developing local players, and reinforce the sense of identity represented by the motto, Más que un club." So great news on that front. This is a long-term investment into our academy and into our team as well. Now, speaking of academy, Barcelona have been able to secure the future of two of some of our most promising players in the academy. The first one being Luca Perez. If you don't know who Luca Perez is, he's a 16-year-old center back currently in the academy. Barcelona signed him back in 2018 from Estrella Damm. He has already featured with the Juvenil B, or the under 19 Barcelona team. He is a defender known for his physical presence and defensive instincts, which those together have given him a reputation of being a reliable defender who thrives in one-on-one situations. But that's not all, because he's also very comfortable in possession and capable of helping build attacks. So he mostly shines on those 1v1 situation, but he's also good with the ball at his feet, and he's considered one of the most promising defenders currently in the academy. And now that he's turned 16, Barcelona have signed have given him his first professional contract. So very important, because again, it's nice to sign big names, but we also got to take care of our players who are currently in the academy. And who knows, one day maybe he will be on the first team. Now, the second player that Barcelona have secured his renewal is Dani Avila. If you don't know who Dani Avila is, he's a 19-year-old midfielder. He joined in 2018 from Real Murcia. He joined Barcelona's under-12 team. He is a technically gifted midfielder with considerable potential. He was considered one of the brightest prospects from the 2007 class. If you don't know which one that is, that's the same class as Lamine Yamal and Kouarsi. But unfortunately, a series of injuries curtailed his growth and development. But now Barcelona have renewed him until 2028, where he's going to move, or he's going to be promoted to Barca Athletic, where hopefully he can, avoid injuries. He can continue growing, developing, and who knows, maybe reach that potential that the likes of Lamine and Kouarsi reach, because again, same class, was also considered very promising, but his injuries definitely set him back. Let's hope he can outgrow those injuries, and who knows, maybe one day he can be playing on the first team. Now, speaking of midfielders, we got to talk about the huge twist today, because ladies and gentlemen, Bernardo Silva is set to join Real Madrid. It's pretty much a done deal. They're finalizing the last bit of details, and then Bernardo Silva will become a Real Madrid player. Now, as you know, Bernardo Silva's contract with Manchester City has expired. He's been offering himself to Barcelona time and time again. Barcelona were initially consistently saying no, but eventually Hansi Flick greenlit the operation. Barcelona had reached an agreement, a verbal agreement with Bernardo Silva to join Barcelona. But of course, Barcelona told them, look, we're okay with you coming. However, we first need some exits, right? Marc Casado, maybe Rooney Bardarji, maybe both. Flick did not want Barca to sign Bernardo Silva without first offloading at least one player in the midfield to make space for Bernardo. Bernardo Silva initially had said that he understood, and therefore he was going to wait until after the World Cup to sign, because he wanted to do it before. But it looks like Bernardo Silva demanded a higher salary from Barcelona, and Barcelona said, sorry, bro, but no. This is what we have to offer. We're not looking to, spend a huge amount of money on a player who pretty much is going to be a substitute, because Bernardo Silva was not going to be coming to Barcelona to be a starter. I mean, he was going to have to compete with Pedri and Bernal, who are the starting double pivot and the future double pivot of Barcelona. And in the attacking mid, he was going to have to compete with Gabi, Dani Olmo, Fermin Lopez. On the right wing, he was going to have to compete with Lamine Yamal, the best player in the world. So he was going to be most likely a substitute. So Barcelona said no to Bernardo Silva's salary increase. And this, of course, led him to go and join Real Madrid, where Mourinho requested his signing. You know what I think about Bernardo Silva. I've said it a million times. I did not want to see the signing happen. When, of course, Flick okayed him, I said, okay, fine. If Flick wants him, then fuck it, sign him. But I've always was against this signing. So I'm honestly happy. I mean, do we need Bernardo Silva? Fuck no. We don't need Bernardo Silva. We have a million midfielders. This whole thing, oh, it's his dream, it's his dream. Well, apparently it wasn't his dream. Apparently I was right, because in all his interviews, he kept talking about, going to a beach destination with good food and good weather. It looks like that's all he wanted, because it was truly his dream. He would have been okay with the salary that Barcelona offered him, instead of going and signing with Real Madrid. So to me, this is good news. We don't need him, and I'm happy with it. Anyways, let's end today's video with some bombshell news coming out of Germany, because, ladies and gentlemen, Harry Kane's renewal is currently stalling with Bayern Munich. Now, as you know, Barcelona's number one objective for the center forward position is Julian Alvarez. However, there hasn't been much movement on this deal. As you know, Julian Alvarez informed Atletico Madrid that he wanted to leave because he didn't believe in their project. Why would he? It's a trash project. Then Julian Alvarez, through his agent, met with Barcelona. They reached an agreement for Julian to join Barca, and immediately after that, Barcelona made an offer to Atletico Madrid worth 90 million plus 10. Atletico Madrid have not even responded to that offer. And since then, of course, PSG have been interested. Arsenal have been interested. We know Real Madrid made a 150 million euro offer that was immediately rejected, even though I feel like that was more of a pre-planned stunt to drive Julian Alvarez's price up. And of course, for Real Madrid, where Florentino Perez, gets to fulfill that promise that he made during his campaign, that he was going to sign a player for 150 million euros. But anyways, that's neither here or there. Seeing that there's no movement on this agreement, of course, Barcelona are now looking at their other options, right? They cannot just wait for Julian Alvarez until the last day of the market. And then if he doesn't come, oh, crap, what do? I have no number 9, right? Now, Barcelona have several options or backup options. We know Victor Osimhen has offered himself to Barcelona. Vlahovic has offered himself to Barcelona a million times. But of course, Barcelona's favorite option B is that of Harry Kane. Of course, Harry Kane has scored, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 61 goals this past season, plus 7 assists. So we're talking about 68 goal contribution for Bayern Munich. An absolute beast of a season for Harry Kane. And his contract expires in 2027. Barcelona inquired and said, hey, would you be interested in coming and replacing Lewy? Harry Kane said, no, I want to stay at Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have been working on his contract renewal. But big news today out of Germany stating that, well, this negotiation has stalled because there is difference in postures on what Harry Kane is asking for versus what Bayern Munich are willing to offer him. Now, Barcelona are keeping a very close eye on this, because in case the renewal doesn't happen and Harry Kane looks to leave, Barcelona are going to pounce on this opportunity to try to bring Harry Kane to Barca. Now, don't get ahead of yourselves. Right now, there's just disagreement between Harry Kane and Bayern Munich. This doesn't mean they're not going to eventually overcome this disagreement and then sign a renewal and Harry Kane will stay at Bayern, right? That could still very easily happen. But for now, there's disagreement. Negotiations are paused. Barcelona keeping a very, very close eye on this, because if there's any chance of bringing Harry Kane to Barcelona, Barcelona are going to jump on it. Now, as far as Harry Kane and Julian Alvarez, of course, goal-wise, Harry Kane wins by a huge, huge margin. I think bringing Harry Kane, he's going to guarantee you 40, 50, 60 goals per season. He's a classic number 9, a penalty box killer, or a box predator, as some people call him. And a number 9 who, even though he's a classic number 9, he still can combine with his teammates. He can still, assist, and he can still kind of help organize the attack. But again, he leans more as the number 9. What's the negative, of course, is that he is 33 years old. So this will be more of a short-term solution, 2, maybe 3 seasons. and then you're back at square one looking for another center forward. Julian Alvarez, on the other hand, much younger, could be a long-term solution, someone who's very good playing in between lines, playing on the wings, dropping down to receive the ball. He can assist, he can give you that last killer pass, but on the other hand, his goals, not as many as Harry Kane, not even close, right? So two different profiles. Julian Alvarez remains the number one option, but if that doesn't happen and if there is the smallest chance of bringing Harry Kane to Barca, well, Barca's going to jump on that. Now, let me know what you guys think. Who would you sign if you could? If money's not a problem, if nothing's a problem, would you bring Harry Kane? Would you bring Julian Alvarez? Would you bring someone else? Let me know down below in the comment section. And with that, we will wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, be scars.